How much is this chaos contributing to the crisis?
You know, Joy, when Dr. Fauci, that was a great interview that he had, a conversation with Dr. Francis Collins. By the way, two gentlemen public servants who've devoted their careers to public health and science and medicine. But Dr. Fauci's expression, we're knee deep in this pandemic, it really reverberated down my spine. Joy, leadership is about making tough decisions, not the popular ones, but making the right decision. And right now, in the midst of a ballooning infectious disease outbreak, we need our leaders. Leadership really means making evidence-based public health decisions, and specifically in this case, mandating public health measures that are known to save lives. Every single elected official needs to wear a mask. I do not leave my home without wearing a mask. They need to show by leadership, by example, to wear these masks, and they also need to mandate physical distancing. And if you can't, then wear the mask. This is what's happening right now. Leadership also means understanding that you have to protect the most vulnerable people in your communities. I know on your show you've talked about this multiple times. This pandemic is disproportionately impacting Black men and women, Native Americans, Hispanic communities. So we need to protect all of these people. That's what leadership really means.
You know, and I too, I don't leave my house without wearing a mask either. This morning I jogged in New York, in Harlem, mask on. Like it's just a simple thing that everyone has to do. Yamiche, it seems to me that not only is the White House surrendering completely on the coronavirus, but they're also lying to their base. Can you just walk us through what are the rules for being anywhere near Donald Trump when it comes to coronavirus?
It's unclear the exact rules. What we know is that everyone around President Trump is being tested regularly, and that people around him are being told that they should be socially distancing away from the president. The thing that's interesting, though, is that the White House has had several events, and as reporters, we're no longer getting our temperatures checked. So there was a point in this White House and in this pandemic where everyone coming in through the front gates, everyone had to have their temperature checked. Everyone had to be asked a number of questions, including, do you have the symptoms for the coronavirus? About a couple of weeks ago, that was done away with. And now what we have is a bunch of people coming to the White House, not socially distancing. And you saw over the July 4th weekend, there were people sitting at tables and on the lawn closer than health officials, including the Trump administration's own health officials, would have them do. So what you see in the president is someone who really wants to move past the virus. But instead of kind of dealing with the virus and saying, okay, we need to get testing better, we need to admit some of the failings of this, instead what he's saying is, let's just all talk about the virus like it's gone. So today you had a bunch of governors and other people come to the White House to talk about having students come back to schools. There was no talk about the fact that there are still testing issues. There was no talk about the fact that we're still hitting record highs. Instead, the president said, what we need to do is open their country back up and let people go on with their lives and let people figure out how to deal with this.
Okay, that's insane. Neera, my friend, I am so glad to see you, first of all. I have not seen you, on television or in my text messages for a while, because you actually had COVID-19. You actually had the coronavirus. So you've been through this. Can you explain, and first of all, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. Can you maybe explain to Donald Trump, who does actually learn everything he knows through the TV, so maybe on the chance he's hate watching tonight, how serious this illness is and why he ought to take it seriously, even for himself? Pretending it's not there will not make it be there, but please explain that to him if you could.
I mean, what was so profound about this is that I had a moderate case. I never had a fever. My oxygen was fine. And I was wiped out by this virus. There were days I was sleeping 20 hours. It took me 6 weeks to get back to any semblance of normal. I'm healthy. I'm not that much older. So I'm one of those people that Donald Trump says should never really get super sick. And it's a scary virus because there's so much we don't know. I had symptoms that came and went and came back again, and it just stays with you a long time. And what is so scary is this messaging that 99% of people are fine when they get the virus. That is false. And what I find so deeply concerning is that this surge in cases we have is because of the president urging states to reopen. And they listened to him. And now we are dealing with this pandemic much longer than other countries. So this is a public health disaster that his leadership is responsible for.
And David, I am a bit astounded by the Republican Party. I mean, I understood that there is a pack mentality, that extreme partisanship is a real thing. But the fact that they understand their own constituents are dying, could be dying. Yeah. The governor of Florida has to understand that the tragedy that's hitting a state with a larger population than New York could end up being incredibly tragic, but they seem compelled to still follow him, even basically to the gates of hell. I want to play an ad from some former Republicans like yourself. This is the latest ad from the Lincoln Project.
Biden now leads the president.
He's going to be your president.
Why do you think you're losing, Donald?
Because some people don't love me, maybe.
It's because you've got a loyalty problem.
Loyalty problem.
They're in your campaign.
They're in your campaign.
Your White House.
Your White House.
In Congress.
In Congress.
Even your own family.
Even your own family.
They whisper about you.
They whisper about you.
They leak, spin, lie. They tell the media they're smart and you're out of control.
And you're out of control.
That you can't focus.
Can't focus.
That you're mentally and physically weak.
Physically weak.
That you hide in your bunker, scared and shaky. And laugh when you can't walk down a ramp or drink water. All of them.
They're in your campaign.
The ones you know and the ones you don't know.
The ones you don't know.
Whispering about you.
Whispering about you. The ones you don't know.
They expect you to lose.
Because, David, not only do all of the people who are supposedly so loyal, they're terrified of Donald Trump, but they're running to Yamiche and other reporters and leaking information. All the good dirt out of the White House comes from Republicans and from people close to him. They are probably terrified and wearing masks at home when he can't see them. But publicly, they still do this complete act of full cowardice. Please try to explain this for us.
Darwinism, I suppose, Joy. Look, they all deserve to lose because the courage of your convictions should be on display publicly. And we get to judge our elected officials based on the principles that they share with the American people, not what they do in private and do something different in public. Look, that ad is hitting at a core flaw in Donald Trump's id, if you will, and it's this, that weak and fragile men who fail to earn the respect of the people they serve try to command it. And Donald Trump commands respect and loyalty from Republicans. But look, there is no daylight. We get to judge those Republicans on Capitol Hill who are serving right along Donald Trump and who have enabled him and celebrated him. And the reason that the Republicans will lose the Senate and Donald Trump will lose the White House is because they had an opportunity to learn the lessons of the 2018 midterm elections. And they have done nothing to address the voters that said, you know what, I may have not voted for Democrats in the past, but I'm sick and tired of the direction Republicans are taking us. Donald Trump is taking us, and I'm going to align with the Democrats. Enough Americans did that in 2018, and I think it's going to happen again in 2020. The morning of November 4th will be a reckoning moment for Republicans.
And let me play, and I mean, that's what it feels like, unless, voter suppression actually works as directed. Let me play for you Donald Trump. Let's give him a couple words here tonight. This is him responding to Dr. Anthony Fauci saying we're not in a good place. This is what he said to Greta Van Susteren.
Even Dr. Fauci is saying that we're knee deep, and he's saying that we're not in a very good place or something to that effect. How do we reconcile the good news with the bad news?
Well, I think we are in a good place. I disagree with him. Dr. Fauci said don't wear masks, and now he says wear them. And he said numerous things. Don't close off China. Don't ban China. We are going to be in 2, 3, 4 weeks. By the time we next speak, I think we're going to be in very good shape.
We're going to be in very good shape. I'm not sure what the good news is that she was referencing because I don't think there is any, but, whatever. Dr. Roy, there isn't any good news, so let's put that aside. Donald Trump is basically trying to say, trust him and not Dr. Fauci. That is insane, but I will let you comment on it.
So my blunt advice is, look, if you have questions about your diabetes medications or high blood pressure medications, do you talk to your senator, mayor, or governor, or do you go to your doctor's office? Similarly, we're in the middle of a public health crisis. And honestly, Joy, as a doctor, when I think of, first of all, let me just say I'm so glad that Ms. Tan and Neera is feeling better. But honestly, if any one of us can get sick. And when I think about all of the men and women that are in the hospital right now, struggling to breathe, in pain, they're struggling to survive. It drenches my heart in sorrow because this is preventable and treatable. We didn't have to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And, you know, but before we go, because again, also Donald Trump really yearns for celebrities to be around him. They won't. They refuse. They didn't show up at his White House thing. They don't. But we will now play a celebrity for you, Donald Trump. We're going to play it just for you, because maybe if you won't listen to reason, and you won't listen to Dr. Roy, and you won't listen to experts, and you won't listen to Dr. Fauci, maybe you'll listen to Tom Hanks, because he's famous. Here he is.
We don't know what's going to happen with COVID-19. The idea of doing one's part, though, should be so simple. Wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. Look, there's no law against ignorance. It's not illegal to have opinions that are wrong. I think you flout a number of realities when 2 and 2 don't add up to 4. There is a darkness on the edge of town here, folks, and it is. Let's not confuse the fact. It's killing people.
COVID survivor and far more famous person than Donald Trump ever was. That was Tom Hanks. Thank you so much to Yamiche Alcindor, Neera Tanden. So glad to see you healthy again. David Jolly and Dr. Lipi Roy. Thank you all very much. And coming up, Florida is seeing an explosion in COVID cases, with some hospitals running out of beds. But the Sunshine State's governor continues to deny what the data clearly shows, that the problem is getting worse. Plus, we get our first look at the new tell-all book from Trump's niece, including the tea that he cheated on the SAT, left his brother to die alone in the hospital while he headed to the movies, and that the daddy issues that turned him into the reckless, self-centered person afflicting us today. We've got so much more to get to. Stay with us.